Hey, welcome. In this video, I want to talk about launching your business, right? So, the best way I can describe it is if you look at this picture of a skyscraper, um, you know, there's a lot of moving pieces, right? You've got the foundation, you've got the guys scaling up doing windows, you've got steel, you've got, all these moving pieces. And an online business is really no different if you think about its foundation and its structure, right? You got to have a way to be present online, right? You have to have a website. Um, Not only that, you have to have a way to collect information from people, right? Which are going to be leads, which ultimately will be sales, hopefully, and customers. And then you have to have a way to communicate with those leads, customers, right? And fans. And then ultimately, you want to build this thing like a skyscraper, right, from the ground up. So there's a lot of different tools and a lot of different, programs, softwares, um, things like that we need to use in order to set ourselves up properly so that we have, again, a website presence, a way for people to see what we're offering, get in contact with us, get their information, market to them, hopefully create a sale, create a customer, and then continue to market. I have found over the years, I've been online over 10 years now, crusading, make money online. I've done pretty much everything there is. And I've used a lot of different programs and softwares and, from web page creation to you know, email marketing to um, graphic design to um, video, like all different kinds of stuff. And what I have found is that if you try to piece things together, and by that I mean like if you have a website creator, right, that you're going to build like maybe your presence, right, your online whatever it is you're offering. And in our case, I'm going to show you that in one of the next modules what we're going to do to start and then ultimately build. This is important because if you don't set this up right, the rest of this just doesn't work, right? If you're piecing things together and you're having trouble understanding how it all works, making sure that everything works synergistically and isn't disjointed. If you're not techie, especially, like this can get really confusing and it can get really frustrating. Because think about it. Let's say you have a platform you're building your website presence on to promote whatever. And then you're trying to collect leads, right? Email address, name, whatever. And then you're linking that to, let's say, a company page, which we're going to talk about, which you don't own, right? You're trying to connect and sell and make a commission and then have a customer and remarket, which is what building an online business really is. There, it's frustrating, right? Because if it doesn't work, like maybe you collect emails, but then you don't really have a way to email market to those people. Like you need a different platform for that. And so I guess what I'm getting at is it's easiest to just have a platform that does everything and it does it well, right? You don't want to be piecing together things to save a few bucks to, you don't want to be cheap, right? You want something, think about like Apple, right? You know, whether you like Apple or not or use Apple, that's not the point. The point is you have to admit, even if you're not an Apple product user, their design, their polished look, their professionalism, they dominate the market because what they offer works, and it's all kind of in its ecosystem, and everything works. And Google's very similar. I use Google personally. Like, I have a phone, I have cloud, I have all that stuff. I used to be Apple, I use Google. It doesn't matter. The concept is the same. Everything just synergistically works, right? You're not piecing together like different platforms. If you want simplicity and you want things that just work. So, this is all to say, we need to build our business like a skyscraper. Foundation, right? Foundation, and work our way up. Kind of like you see in this picture, right? These guys are working from the ground up. We want a program software, we want tools that are going to work synergistically to help us have our presence, promote, collect information, market, sell, and remarket. And we want it all to just work seamlessly. So with that said, the next step underneath this video is going to be the tool that I recommend has everything you need. It's like the Swiss Army knife of marketing, internet business. Anybody I've ever known online in my 10 plus years who has a big brand, a big business, who makes lots of money, who has lots of customers, uses this particular company's product and service because it works, because it's polished. Think Apple, Google, right? Everything is included. You also have, and you're going to see it in the next module after this. I have a full review. I go inside. I talk about the training you're going to get. And I'm going to be upfront. It's not the most affordable, right? Just like Apple, Google, they're not always the most affordable solution. However, think about it from a time and frustration cost, right? Would you rather pay for something that's going to give you way more than you're getting in training, first of all, and support, and then also get a product that's proven, that's polished, that's been around, that is the product and service that any professional uses, right? Professional businesses, professional coaches, professional marketers, they all use this particular company's software and products because it works. So I'm not here to tell you that there isn't something else you could use. There is. I've tried them. There's free stuff. There's stuff that's less expensive, but it costs you in time and frustration. And oftentimes it'll be an opportunity cost because you will get, let's say, leads, right? You'll build a page or a website, promote whatever it is. Hopefully you keep following through the training here, and I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do to get easy wins and kind of build from there. So let's say you build something, right? You promote it, and then it doesn't work, right? You have to troubleshoot. Well, a lot of these other programs have no help. You have to figure it out on your own. And yeah, you could watch YouTube and all that, but that costs you time, right? I work 55 hours a week. I have 3 kids. I don't have time to figure stuff out anymore. I really don't. I don't know what time you have. Maybe you are full-time at home and you want to take the time to learn different platforms and connect them all and use third-party integration like Zapier and all that stuff. If you don't even know what I'm talking about, chances are you don't want to do that. I'm telling you, it's really frustrating to get everything to work. You just want a place that everything works together. So, with that said, I think I've beat this enough, but it's important because this is the foundation on which we build this entire business, right? You don't want to get this wrong. You want to just use something that works. So, thanks for watching. Go to the next module. I'm actually going to review and break down training and things that you get with this particular company's product and software that we're going to use, that I think you should use to build your business. Okay, so go to the next module, watch my video. I go through everything, and then I'll see you over there. All right, bye for now.